Anthropic just released a new Claude model, which leapfrogs over all the other models in most respects. Should you switch? My name is Maria Korolov. I'm a technology journalist, and on this channel, I talk about what the AI future means for creative people in the creative professions. So writing, art, music, mostly writing because I'm a technology journalist during the day. I'm a novelist, I'm a magazine editor. So writing is kind of my sweet spot, and AI is coming straight for it. So if you're somebody who uses AI in at least something, so maybe for marketing, maybe for deep research, maybe for brainstorming, or as a kind of super powered spell checker, or whatever you use AI for, right? Um, there are some good reasons to use AI. There's plenty of bad reasons to use AI. One of the best reasons to use AI is to know what AI is, to know what you're up against. And because the thing is, if you don't use any AI and you try it once and you're bad at it, and so you give it a bad prompt and you get a bad result, the temptation is to say, oh, look, AI is awful. I tried it. It doesn't work. I don't have anything to worry about. And and you go through life with these blinders on until your profession disappears under you and you're not prepared. So I think that creatives do have a way forward in the AI future. We will have careers afterwards. We might have more opportunities afterwards than we do today. And I'll talk about that on this channel as well. In fact, I think I just posted a video about this like yesterday or the day before. So, yeah, I've been covering technology for over 20 years. I've been a business bureau chief overseas. I have been engrossed in this since the dot-com days. And yes, I really do believe that there is a path forward. And once, like you think about it, it becomes obvious in retrospect. Okay, so one of the things is that you need to be aware of what differentiates you from AI. And in order to do that, you have to be able to have an idea, not necessarily of the best that the AI can be, because you have to be like super user to get the best out of it, but at least like the medium stuff, because that's what you're going to be competing against. Your employers are going to be using like a medium level of AI. So if you can do a medium level of AI, you know what you're up against and what you have to differentiate yourself against. So that aside, should you switch to Claude Opus 4.5? Last week, Gemini 3 came out, and it was the #1 AI everywhere on all the benchmarks. It leapfrogged over everybody else. Gemini is from Google, and it's built into the Google Workspace and into Google Search and into all the other Google products. And the question I asked myself last week is, should I be switching to Google Gemini? And then this week, Claude Opus 4.5 came out. And now it is at the top of the benchmarks. It leapfrogged over Google Gemini in most benchmarks. And the question is, should you switch to Claude Opus 4.5? Next week, OpenAI is going to come out with something, or somebody else is going to come out with something. So my recommendation is, don't switch until the AI you're using doesn't work for you anymore. Because if you just wait a couple of weeks, whatever AI you're with is going to leapfrog the others. So there's a few main ones right now that people are using: ChatGPT from OpenAI, Claude from Anthropic, Gemini from Google. If you are on Microsoft, you're using Copilot, which is a version of ChatGPT. Meta has Llama, but few people are all in on that. And then there's a bunch of open source and smaller platforms out there. And if you don't mind an AI that checks first what Elon Musk is thinking, Then there's Grok also as a possibility. I'm not seeing any significant uptake of that one though, except as a curiosity on Twitter. Um, because it's like it's weird. It's just weird. Anyway, so don't switch. Don't switch unless you have a good reason to. If you don't have an AI that you're using yet and you're looking for one, my first recommendation is to pick one that's convenient. So if you're already all in on Google, you're using Google search, you've got Gmail, you've got Google Drive and Google Docs and Google Workspace and all the other Google stuff, then Google Gemini integrates well with it. If you are a Microsoftie and you're all in on Windows, you might want to go with Copilot because that's integrated with everything and it's convenient and easy to use. If you like, if you don't want to be part of either the Google or the Microsoft Gemini, you can go with ChatGPT and be part of the OpenAI Gemini, right? And go on that, and there's settings in all of them where your data is not used for training. So if that's a concern, make sure those are set. And what I recommend that people do is that they use the AI for dumb stuff that nobody cares about. Recipe recommendations, um, stuff that doesn't matter. If it goes wrong, it doesn't matter. And it gives you a feel of how to interact with the AI, how its voice is changing, what it's capable of, what it's not capable of, and you also learn how to talk to it because after Google came out, we had to like learn the language of searching, and now it feels intuitive to us because we've been doing it for more than 20 years. But when Google first came out, it was hard to figure out how to search for things, right? It wasn't immediately obvious to everybody. When GPS systems first came out for the phone, I used them to go to the supermarket and back, to drop the kids off at school and back, just to get a feel of how the GPS worked in a non-stressful situation. Because I already knew the way to the supermarket, I already knew the way to the kids' school, and so having the GPS confirm it for me was very low risk. I wasn't going to drive into the ocean by following the GPS's instructions if I'm driving to the local supermarket. And it was a way for me to learn the interface because I needed to learn how to use GPS because I used to drive around a lot for work. I don't anymore. Now it's all on Zoom. But I used to have to drive to like local cities to interview people face to face, and so being able to use a GPS was really important for me. And so I practiced on low stress things. And it didn't work, talk to it, where all the buttons were, so that if I'm panicking and I'm lost, using the GPS becomes instinctive. I don't have to also think about how to use this thing. So same thing for AIs. You get comfortable with using them, you get to know what they're capable of, and it reduces your fear of AIs because you start seeing them more as a tool, and you start seeing the potential of them as like an administrative assistant that allows you to accomplish more stuff and take on some of the tasks that maybe you don't want to do but can't afford to hire out. So the not in the sense of like taking jobs away from somebody because you don't have the money to hire somebody to do that anyway, but to do jobs that are currently not being done or are being done by you badly or slowly or with great discomfort. So that's kind of like the sweet spot for AI. And there's some AI that are more ethical than others. Adobe Firefly is only trained on licensed data, and they pay artists for the training data. So that's the only AI that I really recommend. They indemnify business users against any kind of copyright issues. Highly recommend that. I haven't seen a mainstream text AI that's similar, that's only trained on licensed text data and um, that is safe against all these copyright issues and that pays people for the training and so on and so forth. I would like to see one, and I'm going to keep an eye out for it. And if one shows up, I'll tell you about it. There are some open source ones that do that, but they're very difficult to use. They're not user friendly. They're not ready to go. So, yeah. Um, if you want an AI that can read an entire unpublished novel and tell you where the plot holes are, I highly recommend Claude. So if you're not using an AI now, with Claude, you can upload the whole book and say, all right, what do you think of the main plot developments? And are all the threads nicely, closed up at the ending? And it will read the whole book, it will analyze it, and it will tell you about this. And doing this experiment, by the way, is the number one way to realize this is not just autocomplete on steroids. It is not searching the web for analysis of your book and just regurgitating it for you because it's an unpublished story. Nobody's analyzed it before. It's doing original analysis. And once you see it do it, once or twice or however many times you run this exercise, you will start to understand what the current crop of AIs are capable of. And it is a little frightening, especially if you're a book coach or editor. Um, and it's also a little bit of a wake up call. And I think it's an exercise that everybody should go through at least once just to see the level of capability of AIs today. Upload a story that hasn't been published, turn off the training option, if you haven't yet, if you don't want it to be part of the training data, and then ask it to analyze the story, and it will give you original analysis of it. So very, very scary, and very eye-opening. If that doesn't tell you that you need to be aware of what's happening, I don't know what will. So that is a reason to use Claude Opus 4.5 or Claude in general, whatever model you get when you sign into it. The basic plan is free, as with all these AIs, and it's $20 a month for the premium version, as with pretty much all the AIs. The only one that I currently pay money for is Claude because it just does a good job analyzing written works. And so if I wanted to find like inconsistencies in a whole novel, that's a great way to do it. So, I'm kind of looking at it like spell check on steroids. It will find like plot mistakes instead of spelling mistakes. So it's a valuable service. It doesn't get in the way of my writing process. It's just like a little quick check of to find things that my writing group doesn't find or my book editor might not find. Anyway, so yeah, so that's my take on Claude Opus 4.5. If you don't have an AI yet that you're using and you're a writer, check it out. It could be eye-opening and a little scary. If you're currently using something and you like it, don't bother switching. Wait for the next leapfrog cycle. All right. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you next time.